And it's still very loud.
Sorry.
Okay, remember.
Mommy, let me fly.
Oh, we don't.
Huh.
Okay. Y'all play hide first.
Got Farah must also, I think.
Okay, they're here.
So the only difference between your comp and their comp is that you're running a Brigitte, then they're running a Widowmaker instead of a Brigitte.
Deny the point. Hold on. Y'all slowly go point.
Oh, we don't make me.
Wait.
Help. Yeah, you, CC!
No, we don't, then I cannot. We don't, wait,
I'm low.
Okay. So
Widow. Okay. Y'all.
at this point, their Widowmaker is standing here near the bridge, right? Their Widowmaker does not have sightlines to your team. Their Pharah does not have sightlines to your team because you're sitting in the room. You have the cover of the room. But your Pharah has pretty decent sightlines on them actually, and because of that, they're gonna be forced to push in. Where you are gonna have an advantage. You have Brigitte, you have actually 4 people inside that room, while only their Ryan, Zarya, and their Zenyatta can contribute to the fight if they decide to push in. So you actually have an advantage right now. Your Pharah is gonna pressure them. If they don't decide to push in, then they're just gonna dive because of the Pharah rocket spam. The Pharah is being uncontested because the Widow has no sightline to your Pharah, right? The problem is when you decide to slowly go to the point.
Deny the point. Hold on.
Ready?
Y'all slowly go point.
Oh, we don't.
Because of this, now their Pharah has sightlines on you. Also,
We don't make me.
Wait.
Help. Yeah, you, CC!
No, we don't, then I cannot.
okay, their Widow, when she was standing here, she did not have sightlines to you because you were in this room. But after you move in to the point, she can just rotate here, and now she has very good sightlines to your backline. You're opening up your backline to the Widowmaker and your front line to this Pharah. So you're gonna pressure down, and one Pharah, your Pharah, cannot contest both the Widowmaker and the enemy Pharah at the same time, and that's where you're gonna lose. So I think the mistake in at this fight was to actually move to the point. If you had stayed here in this area and fought inside the room where your Pharah could pressure them, and they would have to push inside, and you had an advantage there. So you should have just stayed there, pressure them, make them push, make them, take the fight, and you could have won that. But because you decided to move to point, you lost that fight.
We don't make me.
I'm low. Oh, yo.
No, we don't make me. I cannot.
Focus the rest. We are not in the zone.
Thanks for the bubble, dude.
We can just go dive, to be honest.
Okay, dive on.
You decide to go dive.
Dive with triple support.
What's this? Why not?
Dive and triple sport. Now I myself have not scrimmed a lot, but I do not think Brigitte can work with dive tanks because she does not synergize with any of the other heroes.
Dive then. Oh, wait, we don't.
When you're running Ryan Zarya, right now you're running dive tanks, but when you're running Ryan Zarya, Brigitte can synergize pretty well with both of the heroes. But I simply don't see any synergy between the Brigitte and actually any of the other heroes. So the only reason I can see, or the only reason you should be sticking on Brigitte is to save your 65% ult charge. But the problem is that like yeah, you are saving ult charge, but you just gave up a lot of ult charge when you switched Ryan and Zarya, right? So I personally think that switching the Brigitte and losing that 65% HP, 65% ult charge is not that big a deal. So I think you should have switched Brigitte here. Go something like take a Widowmaker for example. Just mirror their composition maybe. If you switch to Widowmaker, you can pressure their Widowmaker and their Pharah at the same time. On the other hand, a single Pharah cannot really deal with both of them at the same time.
Ready?
You have to go first. You have to go first. You have to
3,
go first.
2, 1, going.
You decide to jump on the Widow. The problem is this jump is simply not too far. So when you're diving, but you need to be diving as close to the target you want to kill as possible. But since you can't dive from here because you're getting pressured by the Pharah, you decide to dive from here. But that leaves the Pharah is now free to do damage to you. Not only that, because you don't dive far enough, the Widowmaker still is not pressured enough, and that's why she can still kill your Mercy.
Widow behind, Widow
What the
behind.
fuck, the Widow?
What the shit? I thought I blocked.
Behind.
He solo shattered me. He solo shattered me.
Oh my
Huh?
god.
He solo shattered you? Okay, I'm backing up.
Yeah, he solo shattered me. He solo shattered me.
Relax, kill me. Relax, kill me.
Yo, high jump, dude.
Bubble
Oh,
you,
you
relax. Relax. Bubble you, come in the bubble.
Oh, damn irritating, sir.
don't high jump anymore, please.
Damn irritating. I know face to fly all.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we dive in. I instantly give you the armor. Then you full commit to the.
This is gonna go the same way. You just don't dive far enough. I mean, yeah, the Widowmaker is here, but she's just gonna grapple away. And the D.Va is not with you. The D.Va was not ready. There's no one contesting there. There's just no contesting the Widowmaker and the Pharah.
Already, wait.
No, I'm going. No time ready. Widow,
Two.
No, you don't push up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go for Mara. 6, 7.
I'm diving Widow.
Hey, BJ!
Vision first, vision first, vision first.
We were not ready.
Okay, down. Mara, go back, boy, go back.
Fine now.
Point 1, point 1.
Zaya, no bubble, Zaya, no bubble.
Right now. Stop point. Zara. Oh my god, the demon.
Ooh, you almost killed me, Bodo.
I'm dying. Rest.
Come on.
See, come back.
And the way you
Come back,
got
come back.
killed on Widowmaker, that's just unfortunate. That's gonna
Grappling,
delay
grappling down,
for
grappling down.
15 minutes.
Back up.
Yeah, ready.
Spread out.
Now the thing is,
I'm at the right.
wait, what the fuck?
No more Widow.
What?
Triple tank, is it?
No,
Jump McCree.
Sorry.
She let me know already. Did you know effect?
Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway. Now this can work actually right now because your Widowmaker can contest the Pharah and the enemy Widowmaker will be contested by our dive tanks, right? So the enemy Pharah does not have free damage to your tanks. So that's good, right? You jump the Widowmaker is contested, the Widowmaker is trying to deal with the dive tanks. And the enemy Pharah is being contested by your Widowmaker. That's why the enemy Pharah cannot focus on your tanks. And that's why your backline can push in, their front line is distracted and you can kill them.
Run.
That was a really good reaction from the Zenyatta. Nice, dude.
Run.
Support on me, rest.
Why you gotta get into
Zaya
the...
one. Oh fuck.
He just jumped on you.
He won't hang man.
So now they switch to a Tracer. Most probably to pressure your Widowmaker because your Widowmaker is the only DPS in your team. And if they can pressure your Widowmaker is not pressuring their Widowmaker, and their Widowmaker has, there's no one contesting their Widowmaker, and she can shoot you very easily.
Back up.
So I think your Brigitte, what your Brigitte should do right now, because they have a tracer, she should actually protect your Widowmaker and your Zenyatta. Your Zenyatta has good peel, but your Widowmaker does not, right? This map, this map uh, does not have any high ground where the Widow can stay safe from the tracer, right? All the other maps of Lijiang Tower have high ground where the Widowmaker can stay safe from the tracer, but she is especially vulnerable on this map. So the Brigitte should actually be protecting the Widowmaker on this map.
Okay, I'll try to knock the right.
They got grab.
Now your Brigitte is positioned in this area, so if any one of them decide to push in, she can stun him and then push him off. But after,
Tracer going by the other side. Tracer going
now your team has called that the tracer is going other side.
by the other side. Tracer going to point.
There you can see, you just saw the tracer there trying to flank your Widowmaker. Okay, now you've called that they're all going left, right? Now what the Brigitte should have done is just fall back to your sorry, fall back to your Widowmaker and protect her from Tracer. But because you don't do that, the Tracer is gonna have, she's gonna contest your Widowmaker.
Yeah, they're going left.
Widow is confirmed going to be a right side one. They're left already.
And because your Widowmaker is being contested by the Tracer right now, their Widowmaker is not being contested, and that's why she can get free shots on your Zen. She's probably on the bridge right now getting free shots on your Widowmaker, on your tanks as well. Right now the Brigitte is on point, trying to contest point. What she should really have been doing is protecting from the Tracer, right? Because in this comp that you're running right now, I mean, yeah, D.Va can defense matrix the Tracer, but the Brigitte is your best counter to the Tracer right now. So I really think the Brigitte should have stayed with the Tracer instead of trying to contest the point. So yeah, because the Widow gets a free hit on your Zen.
We have to fight now.
And you don't have a mercy, so you can't rest your Zen. Brigitte is on point, trying to contest point when she should really be trying to kill the Tracer. If you watch the Overwatch League map, Hollywood, not Hollywood, Blizzard World, Dallas Fuel versus London Spitfire, you can see that Mickey was, shutting down Birdring on Tracer. Birdring and Prophet on Tracer. She has free shots. That's just unfortunate. You just don't have enough time to contest the point right now.
I cannot lie.
If you lose the fight.
Oh fuck me! I fucked up the jump. Anyway, can't really regen time.
So I think 3 mistakes that you did on this map were: number 1, you went on point instead of understanding your advantage in that position. You go to point, therefore giving up your advantage of the position you were in. The second mistake is not switching up, the DPS or the Brigitte. Pick heroes which actually synergize very well with each other. I think that was the second mistake. After you switch to Widowmaker, their Pharah and their Widowmaker are contested, so you can push in. But because when you have Pharah, you cannot contest their Pharah and the Widowmaker at the same time. You kept on losing the fights. And the third mistake, I think, was the Brigitte not contesting the enemy Tracer.
3 tank here. I mean 3 support here.
Come on, never mind. Then whatever you say.
Widow skill.
Literally only that map we couldn't because of the fucking Widow Farah.
And then straight to point.
Fight them.
Alright.
No, see support we fight. We are in close area, see support can't do anything.
Okay. You are running the solo queue meta right now. The Graph Dragon Resident Sleeper meta. And they're sticking to the same meta that they ran on the first point. Now the problem with you is that even though you are actually running the better comp in general, but your comp is specifically weak on this map, right? They have a Widowmaker who's just gonna sit on this high ground here, and their Pharah who's gonna probably fly in the sky and just spam rockets at you. The thing is, your DPS, your Hanzo cannot really contest a Widowmaker. Hanzo is a projectile, and Widowmaker is hit scan. It's very difficult for Hanzo to contest, keep the Widowmaker busy, and also it is very hard for the Hanzo to keep the Pharah busy. So, I mean, you obviously didn't know what they're gonna pick, so you decide to go with a generally good comp. But the problem is, once you see their comp, there is literally nothing you can do in order to win, right? Their comp is just straight up better than yours.
Go point.
Oh.
So right now you have two options really. One is to go here. What this does is the Widowmaker is gonna set up here. You can avoid the sightlines of the Widowmaker, but the problem is the Widowmaker can just rotate here and get silence to you. The second point thing is here, the Pharah can boop you off by a concussive blast, and you don't have a diva to eat the Pharah boop. So this option is really not that great. But the problem is the second option, which is do this, is not very good either. If you try to do that, again, the Widowmaker is gonna get free sightline to your backline when the tanks go in, and the Pharah is gonna rain rockets on you constantly. So the second option is really also not that great. I think there are only two things you can do. One is you recognize that your comp is really not very good against their comp, and there's literally nothing you can do. So you go back and switch. What this does is that you actually you don't give them any ult charge from fighting this fight. If you actually fight them right now, you're gonna give them a lot of ult charge, and then you're gonna switch your heroes in order to counter that charge, in order to counter their composition. And because you switch your heroes, you're gonna lose all your ult charge, so they're gonna be at a significant ultimate charge advantage in the next fight. That's gonna put you in a very significant disadvantage. So really just go back and switch is a really great option, but it's really not the option people do. Like, I haven't seen any of them choose that option, even in Overwatch League, right? So the last option would be just to push up very aggressively. Your Reinhardt shield is protecting your backline. You push up so far, the Widowmaker cannot possibly rotate in order to get a sightline on you. Widowmaker can't really rotate in a position that can give her sightlines on you, so you avoid the Widowmaker that way. You can also possibly avoid the Pharah if you manage to push them inside the choke. The Pharah has no sightlines on you, but this is a really risky play, right? The Pharah can just rain down rockets at you all the while you're walking from here to here. And while you're walking from here, the Widowmaker also has few chances to hit you. So those are really then this is really a high risk, high reward play. But I think it's a better option than just going straight to point like this, or just standing here and taking the fight. Out of all these options, I think the best one would be to recognize that your comp is bad and go switch. But I really don't know why you won't do that, why no one does that. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, and the second best option would be to just push up and die as fast as possible, maybe, or kill them as fast as possible.
Oh no. Oh my god, you're running same shit, really?
Oh my god. That's why I say Widow. Shooting up. Please someone handle Widow. My shield 600.
Put the top.
Shoot low, shoot low.
Cannot heal. Our supports can't even move up.
My shield
Our
low.
supports can't even move up.
Oh my god. Back. I go back.
I'm already in already.
Wait, I'll come in.
Oh, you say fight them. The fuck?
Yeah, I'll see. You're running the same fucking J comp.
Can we switch out? Come back.
So now you switch to Widowmaker and a Tracer.
I'll continue.
Now this is a great pick. Widowmaker can always what? Okay, yeah, the Widowmaker can always contest the enemy Widowmaker and the enemy Pharah as well. The Tracer is really good. She is really good against these three heroes. Not that great against these three heroes on this specific map, because the Widowmaker is on high ground and Tracer does not have any vertical mobility. So I think a Genji would have been a bit better pick, you know, against specifically the Widowmaker. I mean, it's gonna be really hard. It's not that easy, but definitely a bit better than Tracer, maybe. But this is still fine. This is still fine.
Widow high ground.
Now your composition can actually deal with their composition. So now this is a winnable matchup.
We have no Pharah.
Okay, one shot.
Top left, behind you.
My shield low.
Yeah, I saw.
Shooting out. My shield 700. Oh my god.
I'm forcing fire.
You got the kill on the Pharah. Okay, now this here. This plat charge. I don't know why. Maybe it was a fat finger or something, but this is what's gonna lose. Actually, there are two mistakes here that were made, which you could have avoided and you would have won the fight. So the first one is this plat level charge. So obviously that's a bad charge, but even you know that.
Kill Ryan.
Now the second mistake here is, I think Ayako actually points out that why are you healing the Tracer, right? Cyruken should be healing the Zarya, and what Zarya says is that he was going for the res on Reinhardt, right? What I don't understand is, why do you have to go on the res so early in the fight, right? The fight is still going on. You have plenty of time to rest the Reinhardt. You have 7.5 seconds probably to actually rest the Reinhardt. You are at an advantage right now. You can easily kill their Zarya. Right. Their Zarya is obviously 100 energy right now, so she's just gonna melt every one of you. She's being pocketed by a Mercy, and there's a Zenyatta behind her who's rotating right now, who's right now is not the fight. But your Zenyatta is right here. Sorry about that. Your Zenyatta can move up in 2 seconds. He can Harmony Orb, he can discard the Zarya. You also have a Tracer who can pretty easily burst down the Zarya. But because you decide to go for the res, you're gonna lose the fight.
Pocket me, please.
100 energy Zarya kills your Zarya. Your Zenyatta is here. You wanna go for the res, but you can't actually, because you decide it's not really a good idea.
Can you get a Zarya? Zarya no pasana.
You get the pick on their Zarya, but their Zarya is just too high HP and you can't, and you lose your Mercy in that fight. Your Zen is alive, their Mercy tries to rest their Zarya, and you are unable to kill the Mercy. Okay, right here is the third mistake in this fight. But it's not really a mistake, but it's definitely something you can improve upon. You have a Zenyatta and a Tracer on the point, and they have a Valking Mercy. And she just rests the enemy Zarya, right? You're at a clear disadvantage. There's no way you're gonna win this fight. So you should have actually called a reset. You should have said reset, and you should have died as fast as possible. And even though like you're already pretty extended in the fight, calling reset is gonna prevent your Reinhardt from coming in and feeding 500 HP of ult charge and staggering for next 15 seconds. So you could have actually saved 15 points of the clock if you had called a reset right now. You can see the fight goes on.
You're so uncoordinated, Xavier.
You don't call a reset.
Why were you
Yeah, the
healing? Why
Reinhardt
you
walks
healing?
in thinking maybe the fight is still winnable, and he walks in and he's just gonna feed 500 HP. He's gonna die.
Then why were you healing just now?
I was never mind.
Now the 500 HP ult charge is really not that big a deal, but the 15 second, 10 second and 5 second to set up, right? So 15 second stagger is really bad.
Trying to get the rest off. Badin.
So that could have been avoided in this fight
Here,
to have a significant advantage in the next fight. Not an advantage, but a less of a disadvantage. The Zarya is gonna grab you. Now there's the grab. Your tracer is trying to pressure the Zenyatta. That's fine. But now here is a mistake from the enemy team. There. Their fucking Plaid Zenyatta popped his trance for no reason at all. Literally no reason at all. And yeah, he is getting pressured by the Tracer and he's also getting pressured by the Zarya, but he's getting fucking healed by the Mercy. So he's not gonna die so fast. And when he popped trance, he was actually full HP. So I have literally no idea why he popped trance. Maybe it was a fat finger. But yeah, your Zarya is gonna die. Your Zarya died, and your Widowmaker died. Now your Tracer is gonna go here and try to contest their Widowmaker, and now your Mercy has option to either rest the Widowmaker or rest the Zarya. Now in any situation, resting a Zarya over a Widowmaker is always the best option, and you obviously have trance, so your Mercy is literally not gonna die unless the Widowmaker hits a headshot on you, but she's not gonna hit a headshot on you because your Tracer is gonna be able to contest the Widowmaker. Alright? So what you should have done is you should have pushed up and then tried to rest the Zarya. In this specific situation, you have Zarya almost as Grav, and the Tracer is gonna be able to farm the Pulse Bomb pretty fast. So you're gonna be able to pull off the Bombo combo, Zarya plus Pulse Bomb, and you can easily win this current fight. Also, they wasted their trance, remember? So you probably do not even need your Pulse Bomb to actually win the fight. Just so I really think you should have actually tried to rest the Zarya here instead of trying to rest the Widowmaker. That's a big mistake, I think. Tracer dies.
Have you only, bro? Have you and a widow only?
And the Reinhardt tries to go for a big play, which doesn't work. That's not really a big mistake, I would say. That's really a high risk, high reward play. You definitely could have won the fight if the Reinhardt had landed the shatter on the enemy Reinhardt.
I was going in already. Not enough time.
Oh, I saw Grab there.
That's fine. Let's move on to the next map. This map is also pretty interesting. You could have actually won the first fight. You have an advantage over them a little bit because you have a Junkrat. You can control this area a lot better than they can. And you should take advantage of your heroes. You should take advantage of the position. Junkrat is really strong in those little tiny corridors, and you should try to play around that.
Which one? Oh.
The one where I died to the Zarya for Xavier was like...
Okay, right here. They see that you have a Junkrat and they're not brain dead, so instead of taking a fight here, they decide to go to the point. Because fighting here is suicide. So what you decide to do is try to chase them to the point. But what that's gonna do is that's gonna open up your backline to the Widowmaker, and she's just gonna pick off the Zenyatta, I think. Yep, she picks up the Zenyatta. The Mercy's gonna come back to actually try to rest the Zenyatta. So now you literally have zero heal, and because you have zero heal, they can kill you fast. They kill you, and you just lose the fight. Okay, now what could you have done differently in that fight is, instead of doing this, what them going straight to point has done is that they have opened up this nice little path for you straight to their backline, and they don't have a Junkrat. They cannot stop this push unless their front line backs up to actually fight you. And in this tiny space, your Junkrat has a huge advantage over their Genji. So what you should really have done is just walked up straight to them. I mean, yeah, it kind of opens up your sightlines to the Widowmaker, but if you do it fast enough and do not give the Widowmaker time to set up somewhere, then I think this should have been the thing that you could have done, giving you a huge advantage because of your Junkrat. So I think that is one thing that you should have done, actually.
Hey, Genji one.
Hi. They're still half, by the way, around half. Genji no effect.
Masih half.
Jangan though.
You get the Widowmaker, the Reinhardt charges you, but they're gonna grab you, grab Blade, and you're gonna lose.
Zaya low, Zaya one, legit one.
Fight.
So I don't think there's anything you could have done differently in this fight to win the fight. Is they just won because they just threw in all of their ultimates, right? But the first fight definitely you could have, went straight up to the backline instead of trying to take the fight on the point. Okay, there's one more thing in that fight I just thought of. Right here, when you decide to fight on the point, Junkrat is much less valuable because this is a huge open area, right? It's very hard for the Junkrat to actually hit the grenades on anyone. On areas like this closed area or this closed space, Junkrat is very deadly because almost all of his grenades are gonna hit. So you should have recognized your strength of the Junkrat and should have went for the the closed choke point corridor push. Just recognize your strengths and weaknesses.
There are no personal.
Go, walk in.
Nice one.
Okay, there's nothing to analyze on this fight. You're just gonna use a lot of your ultimates and win the fight. And yeah, they do have
Right one.
Grab. Swing.
yeah, they don't use their transcendence because their Zenyatta is not in the position to use trans.
We don't want.
The problem is pushing up there had opened up the Widowmaker sitting here, and pushing up like this has opened up your black backline to the Widowmaker, and the Widowmaker got a pick on your Zen, and your Mercy is very low. The Genji is gonna peek here, shoot 3 shurikens, and your Mercy is gonna die.
Genji on the left.
Okay, I don't think there's anything you could have done to actually prevent that from happening. But there is one thing definitely you could have done differently in the next fight. I mean, right now actually, because both of your supports are dead, your Reinhardt decides to go. Your Reinhardt decides to go taxi the Mercy, right? But my question is, why should it be the Reinhardt to do it? Because the Reinhardt goes back, you're giving up a lot of space right now. Your Reinhardt is one of the, he is the anchor of your team. He is the front line of your team. If your Reinhardt goes back to fetch the Mercy, you don't have a front line anymore. What you should have done really is you should have made the Widowmaker go back and fetch the Mercy. Now, while you're doing that, while the Widowmaker is taxing the Mercy, your Reinhardt, Zarya, and Junkrat can push up and deny this entry point to the enemy team, because these three heroes specifically are really good at just denying this entry point to the enemy. And you can also actually combo your Junkrat Concussion Mine and your Reinhardt Earth Shatter to get a nice Earth Shatter off. And also you can charge your Junkrat and your Zarya ultimates, which will be very, very good for you in the next fight, because right now you only have a Earth Shatter and a Transcendence. So you would have benefited a lot in your ult charge economy if you had actually pushed up with your Reinhardt, Zarya, and Junkrat. Now obviously there is a big risk that you can just die, like three of you get picked off or something, get rushed, you can die pretty easily because both of your supports are dead, right? But the thing is, because you don't push in, you're gonna die anyway, because you don't have any you don't have any front line, and you're gonna die without even charging any else for yourself. They can just push in. You don't have any front line. They can just walk in. You just give them all this space for free.
Where's my main tank?
I'm fetching them.
Die one.
Walk in.
Yeah, you get the Rosaria. You use Shatter, but he trances. What's happening right now is your Junkrat is here trying to pressure the main point. What the fuck am I talking? Trying to pressure their front line. While he's doing that, the area where the Junkrat is strongest in, the enemy Widowmaker and Genji are gonna flank your backline and disrupt the fuck out of your backline. So even if you are the one who's using ultimates, you're still gonna lose, because the Genji and Widowmaker are uncontested. So what I really think is that the Junkrat, instead of standing here and spamming, Junkrat should have, maybe stayed here or here and spammed. He can still shoot from here. He maybe stand here so he's away from the Widowmaker and spam here. You stay with the Zenyatta maybe, and just deny this area to the enemy, which is the strongest position for the Junkrat. He's really good at that, and also that will not, that will also protect your backline. That will not keep your backline so open. So Mercy pocketed. Genji is just gonna come in. There's nothing that can kill him really. Genji's gonna charge his ultimate.
Widows on left.
We don't want.
Genji just kills entire backline, then pops ult. This charge though by your Reinhardt, wow.
Shield up.
That's an amazing charge. The way you baited him by just falling back, you just fell back, baiting him into charge, and then you're just charging him here. Really good play.
Oh my god.
Shield. I need you to shield. You got bubble?
You try to rest the Reinhardt, it's not gonna work. Mercy dies. You grab them, but they just shatter you. Unfortunate.
Why you where?
You switch to Tracer to get the point faster.
They got hammer, they got blade.
But again, right? Because they have taken up so much space, your Widowmaker can only set up here. Their Widowmaker is gonna set up here, and she's in a significantly better spot right now. Right now she's here, but anyway, there's really nothing you can do to contest her. She can just rotate from this position to this position freely at no will. When she's here, she's obviously a bit more exposed. your Widowmaker can kill her, and when you push in, she is gonna rotate from this position to this position. But anyway, instead of a Tracer right now, I mean obviously Tracer is way faster to actually contest the point, but it's gonna put you at a significant disadvantage because you don't have that vertical mobility that the Genji provides you against the Widowmaker on this map. Again, this map has high ground. The Tracer cannot get to high ground. So they have a slight advantage on you that their Genji actually is a better pick.
Okay.
Come in, please, come in.
Hey, Genji!
AFK, ah.
Genji goes AFK.
So 2 tanks alone. You see them?
Yeah, got it. We don't hide, we don't hide.
You get the pick on their Genji, but they have grab. They're just gonna grab you.
Ryan, shoot low.
Go, CC, go!
They grab you. The Widowmakers, look at that. The Widowmaker is up here. No one can contest her. They just grab you. Now this is a really good play from the enemy's Zarya. Obviously their Zarya is 100 charge right now, and she can obviously very easily kill both of your tanks. But instead of trying to do that and wasting time, what she decides to do is she decides to go for a backline who are not protected. You have a shield, your Zarya has bubble, so instead of wasting her time on you, your backline is completely free right now. Just go for your backline and kill them.
Jano, pasano!
Zara, please, Zara. We don't hide,
Hey, Zen low.
Look, the whole family on me, yeah. Even the Zaya.
You just walk past.
No, he didn't walk past.
Alone on point,
By the way.
He walked past. He walked
He didn't walk
past.
past.
And then you
He walked
just
the right side.
lose.
He walked the right side.
So anyway, I hope you found this a bit useful. I will try my best to do more VOD reviews like this. I'm sorry I didn't get time to do more, but I expect some feedback from you guys, and hopefully we can work on this together, and have a great day.